guys. Welcome to the stream. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Thanks for being here. Not you almost stepping on the cat. Hey. So I tried to add the little production quality since the last stream. I got some an intro card and some music that I thought was very mid-century-ish. And I definitely did not have plans to do this Mad Men stream. So I think it just works hand in hand to have my cute little sitcom music. Thank you, Luz. Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I know I don't schedule these out super far in advance because I feel like I do so much scheduled content that it's kind of relieving to just pop in. So I guess as I get more comfortable doing this, I'll schedule them out a few more days to a week in advance. But right now, I just want to test out, get a little bit more comfortable with doing these, and work with my production quality on live. Thank you. You like my intro? Thank you so much. I think I worked on that immediately after I got off live last time because I was just I needed to be a little bit more, I don't know, more. So I stayed up I think till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning working on the little cards and then finding the perfect intro music for it. So I'm glad you guys like it. Luz, you like my wallpaper? Thank you so much. I actually left the illustrators Instagram in my last live stream, and then I also mentioned the illustrator in my sewing room tour video. So if you guys haven't checked that out after the live, you should check it out, and then I'll leave a link in the description as well. Also, I don't know if you guys are on Instagram and you've seen Atomic Drinkware, but it's a really cool retro inspired drinking glass company, and they make all these hand printed glasses and things like that. And this is one of their latest designs. It's Grandma's Kitchen collection, and it comes in 3 other colors as well, and it's in a mixed container. And I got this for my room because I thought it was super cute, and I figured I'd bring them out during live streams and stuff. So today we have some blueberry wine in this cute little glass, even though it's not a wine glass. Your intro works with your brand. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, guys. 61 of you guys in here. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button. It will help push the stream through the algorithm. So yesterday I released my Betty Draper dress, Mad Men dress video where I made Gertie's new Betty dress, and I did it in the pencil skirt version. And a lot of you guys told me that I needed to watch Mad Men because I had no clue what that show was about. I'd never seen it before, and the only time I've ever heard about it was when people would comment in my comment section of my photos and say it's very Mad Men. So it definitely led me to believe that it was a classic movie, and I didn't realize that it was a period drama and a series at that. So I just started it last night because enough people were you need to watch it. And so I was just after a while I was okay, I need to watch it. And then also Gertie has made a lot of inspired patterns, at least I think 2 more patterns that was inspired by the show. So now that I'm watching it, I get the references. I know she made the Joan dress, I think it is, and I've seen Joan in the dress. Christina says, hello, I love your channel and enjoy you model your clothes. You are perfect for the vintage styles and so graceful. I can't stay long, but wanted to check in finally. Oh, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you being here. Perfect dark. Dang, you put wine in a lemonade glass, Beyonce. Yeah, well, I keep buying their glasses So I was just like, I need a use for it, you know, to justify buying them. So I was like, these will be my downstairs or my sewing room glasses. Gertie's Lori said Gertie's designs are amazing. They really are. I like that she has so many different cup sizes, and it gives, like, when I work with vintage patterns, a lot of the times I have to do a small bust adjustment, but because Gertie has the cup size options, it cuts down on some of the work. It says Blessed Beyond This Mess. Is it on Netflix? I don't think so. I'm watching it on Amazon Prime Video. It's not completely commercial free, but it's like the same popcorn commercial plays during the entire show. So, I mean, it's worth it over there. Hello from Brenda says, hello from Magnolia, Texas. Love watching you and seeing your vintage items. Thank you. And Wave, what inspired you to have this aesthetic? A lot of vintage cartoons, like, well, they're vintage now, but cartoons that were set in like mid-century. So I was just talking to a friend about how underrated like Roly Poly Oly is, because I'm like, everybody's talking about like Mad Men, and then I get so many people referencing classic movies as why they got into vintage, and like I'm just like, I'm into the Jetsons, Roly Poly Oly, like those are slept on. So now I'm trying to like learn the classic movies and the shows that got other people into vintage. But I've always like really liked the design and the aesthetic. Is it free? I'm a Prime member, so I think it just comes with having my Amazon subscription. And then we use these like, you know, those like little sticks, those plug-in things. So like I literally will just use my voice to say whatever show I want to watch, and then it shows you all the options that it comes on. Hi, I'm a newbie. I love your channel. You mentioned sometimes wearing your overalls to work. Oh, when I mean work, I mean like crafting in ways that I'm going to get dirty. So when I wear my overalls to work, I mean like yard work or painting or anything that's going to like make me messy that I don't want to wear my regular clothes. But like I'm a homemaker and full-time mom, so that's my work. Yeah, Lori, like a Roku. I don't know which exactly one I have. I feel like this is something Google related. I have no idea. like, I have no idea. I know we have. I feel like we have like Google or something upstairs, but my sewing room has a. I have a different one. It says, "Do you use any modern sewing machinery?" No, with the exception of my serger that I have over here. The serger right there. That's the only modern machines that I use right now. I really like vintage machines. They're pretty affordable and they're super strong. I don't like that how like modern machines, you have to buy like heavy duty machines, when vintage machines were just sewing machines and they were made to do their job. You don't have to get like a super heavy duty one unless it's like an industrial machine. I love vintage 60s home decor. I sort of have a lamp addiction. Oh my gosh, the lamps, they're amazing. I don't have any vintage lamps because I feel like they're the most expensive things to buy. Mr. Serena actually made me a swag lamp in my living room, and that's the only like vintage style lamp that I have, but it's a modern lamp that he made look vintage for me. That's great work. I did it for 17 years. Yes, I love homemaking. I didn't think that I would enjoy homemaking because I was never really into home decor and furnishings when I was younger, or even before I quit working to working the house. I didn't really care. I just wanted a clean home and like, I don't know, something appealing-ish, but I never went out of my way to decorate until I was home more, and then I found it to be super fun, especially when I let go of like the rules of how like a modern home should look, and when I start putting my own little style and twist into it, I really started to enjoy it more. So cute, so crazy, says vintage sewing machines are the best. I certainly think so. Blessed Beyond This Mess. I'm going to put a sewing video on my channel soon. Love your videos. Keep up the good work. Good luck. Do you already have, will this be your first video or? or do you already have a sewing content channel already? Let me know. Hi, Lila. Thank you for being here. Joy Melton Boleyn. Hello, everyone. Hello, Joy. And then it says, there will be cats. Can we get a tour of your vintage home? Well, I'm not going to show my entire house, but I do plan on doing a tour of, like, a full tour of my kitchen. I do have an unfinished tour of my kitchen over on Patreon. So if you want to see it before I'm completely done with it. We didn't have a vintage fridge yet, but we just got one this weekend. So I'm this much closer to making a public tour of the kitchen. And then I'm also going to show my bedroom, but like just in general, I don't want to show off my entire house for, like, I still kind of enjoy privacy, but there are parts of my house that I film for reels and stuff like that. So I feel like those are fair game. So I'll definitely show those. And at least one of my bathrooms, because we are going to be restoring our bathrooms eventually. I don't know when, but in true modern fashion, all of the vintage tile in our bathrooms were painted over white, and the tub was painted white. And so eventually we want to restore the bathroom and take all of that paint off and then replace the toilets with true vintage toilets that match the tile and the bathtub. Patricia Witherspoon. I love your channel and seeing everything you make. Thank you for being here. R. Yvette X. Vintage fridges are small, aren't they? They come in lots of sizes, just like modern fridges do. A lot of them are small, but they have some huge vintage refrigerators as well. The one that we have is medium, I would say. It's not as big as we could get it, because they did have some huge refrigerators like they do now, like with double doors in the whole 9 yards. Like, that's not a new concept. And then they have like really teeny tiny ones, and we got one right in between because we had the smallest space to put it in our kitchen. We put our new fridge where our old modern stove used to be, and that stove was about an apartment size stove, so we had to get a small fridge for it to fit in that space. But we do have a basement where we just relocated our modern refrigerator. So the upstairs fridge that's currently in the kitchen is to fill that spot so there's not a random gap in the wall where something should be. And then also it's where we'll keep like the breakfast essentials and snack and lunch essentials, so I'm not having to run downstairs to make every single meal. So that's what we're going to be using that upper fridge for. Robert's Family Video Channel. Stumbled upon this wonderful channel. Love watching to create these beautiful outfits in a vintage style. Of course, you look adorable in all of them. Thank you. Do you like the Smeg products? They have a vintage look but a modernized energy output. Yeah, they do, and they also cost a small fortune. Yeah. I adore the Smeg products. They are beautiful, undeniably beautiful. But if I had to choose between a Smeg product and just getting a modern appliance, then I would get those because they're more affordable. And I can't justify the color of my refrigerator or stove because they look vintage. I'd rather just get vintage. Is this a Fawny? Fawny, where do you buy your vintage printed fabrics for your dresses? What materials are they? I just buy modern fabrics. I go to any craft store like a Joann's, and I'll buy my fabrics, and I choose my fabrics based off of what I like. I don't necessarily go for a vintage looking fabric. I guess I'm more drawn to that style, but I don't pick a fabric specifically because they look vintage. That's where I kind of put my own style or spin onto it. Sunray Doll. Hey, Sunray. Thank you for being here. Hey, buddy. Your antique art deco bedroom is still my favorite area of your home. I dream of having a fireplace in my bedroom one day. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. I love that room so much. I've always wanted a fireplace in my bedroom, so much so that in our last house, we built our own like faux surround and put like a faux wood burning gas looking stove underneath it. I've always wanted that, and I guess I would have had to like move into like a more Victorian or older house to get that. But my bedroom now was converted into a bedroom, so I get the best of both worlds in a mid-century house. Lori, you have a lovely and sweet spirit. Thank you. I have a faux cast iron electric fireplace. Yes, I think that's pretty much what we had. It was and then I remember one time I had a sewing machine sitting on top of it, and then I filmed a reel, and so many people were upset about how my fireplace, like it wasn't safe for my sewing machine to be sitting on my fireplace. So to me, I never felt like it looked that real, but apparently a lot of people did think it was real, and I had to like calm everybody down and let them know that I care a lot about my sewing machines. So I would never cook them on a fireplace. Nancy, Spoonflower has vintage 70s fabric. They do. And also, I want to say that Joann's has like a small collection. In my last stream, I showed you some cotton from Joann's that looked very late 60s, early 70s-ish. And they have maybe like two other prints that are also pretty mid-century looking. So check those out because I'm trying so hard not to shop. So I can't give you like details because I'm trying to avoid fabric shopping, but the last time I was there I definitely did see some more vintage inspired stuff. And since it was only early spring, end of winter when I saw those prints, so I can only imagine they probably have more, so check them out. Regina, hello Serena, I'm really enjoying your channel, keep up the good work, happy sewing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hope you enjoy Mad Men. They were sticklers for getting that era right, 1960s through 1970s. Oh my gosh, I wasn't enjoying it at first. I think now that I'm near the end of the first season, it's starting to get kind of good. But like I took so much notes because I was just like I wanted to not forget my talking points. And like literally the first thing I put in my notes is the sheer amount of smoking. Like they smoked so much on set. I was like feeling like I was getting secondhand smoke through the screen. Everybody was just smoking the hell up in there. Lori, I read a lot of Joann's are closing. Ooh, that would suck. that would suck. Dang, that would suck a lot. But I also wouldn't be too surprised either. Their customer service is not that great. And like, I don't know. I've never enjoyed, yeah, like Sandman said, their customer service isn't helping, and it's really not. I feel like their online catalog never really matches the store catalog, so they say that they have stuff there that's not there, and it's just super chaotic. So, am I surprised? No. But am I disappointed? Just a little. Vintage things, I wish I had an electric can opener with a knife sharpener. That would be very helpful. Yeah, they smoked a little on set. A little. They smoked, well, I don't know how much of it is like real fake or whatever, but like I feel like in general, I'm just like, geez, they definitely drove home how important smoking was for the time, because I was just like, damn, it's a lot of smoking. Allison, hey Serena, do you prefer using reproduction or true vintage patterns? I prefer true vintage patterns. There's very few reproductions that I like, and I speak about Gertie's a lot because hers is one that I feel like I get a really decent fit. So that's my preferred reproduction pattern company. Also because like I talked about her having such an extended range, I feel like I could sew for like friends. If like I wanted to give someone a gift, I can always choose from her patterns. Also, I like that they mix and match a lot. That's really convenient. And I think before I got into buying true vintage patterns, her patterns was the first vintage style patterns that I bought besides the big four. And I really liked that even though her patterns did cost a little bit more, I got more out of the pattern. Like I got more value out of it because she had so many styling options within the individual pattern. So whenever I first started sewing, it was more convenient for me to work with her patterns. And I know now that she's extended the size range, that more people get an opportunity to work with her patterns as well. They weren't real cigarettes. Perfect Dark said they weren't real cigarettes. Okay, so I kind of assumed that they weren't, because I was just like, well, I don't know. I don't know that many people that smoke in real life, almost none. So I'm just like, how did they get so many great actors and actresses that all smoke that much for this show? So I figured that to some degree it wasn't real, but it was a lot. Lori, I have a lot of problems finding full figured vintage patterns. Yeah, it's an issue. I'm thinking the biggest size that I've seen them come in is like a size 20. So the range isn't very high in true vintage. And a size 20 in true vintage is not the same as a size 20 in modern sizes. Like a size 20 in vintage is like a 42 bust. So that's not very big at all. So that's why I suggest that you find like an indie pattern designer or work with Gertie, or even for me, I had to learn to do small bust adjustments and some sizing alterations and things like that for true vintage patterns, just because like their busts are super full in comparison to the waist. So at a 24-inch waist, I don't have like a 32 bust. So unless you're wearing the proper like bra to give you the shape and stuff, I had to do a small bust adjustment. So if you fall outside of the range, you're definitely gonna have to learn how to alter patterns. Allison, I grew up in the 60s. They drank and smoked as much as they showed in Mad Men. My doctor used to smoke. You could smoke anywhere you wanted. So I remember when I was like really young, when you could still go to restaurants and they'd ask you if you wanted a smoking or non-smoking section. So I am not surprised that they smoke as much as they do. In fact, that was probably one of the most alarming things straight away, because when Peggy went to the doctor's and the doctor was like smoking at her OB appointment, I was like stunned. Like literally seeing it with the 2023 eyes, still I was just like, I was taken aback. Ricardo J, any advice you would give a person going into men's period styles? Not really. Okay, so men are kind of cutthroat in vintage. I actually joined some vintage men's groups so I could like figure out how to help Mr. Serena dress if he ever wanted to like dress in suits. And also when I was learning how to make my own suits, I just wanted to see what were the components of a decently fitted suit. So of course I joined a vintage men's group on Facebook, and they are so mean, in my opinion. So I would just try and find like individual people that you admire, look them up online, and like make individual connections, because in like the men's group, I don't feel like it's that inviting. I don't think I've ever actually posted in that group. I kind of just stay in the shadows and like take notes whenever a man talks about a fit being a certain kind of way, and I'm just like, okay, let me keep up with that. They used to smoke on airplanes. Yeah, they used to smoke everywhere. One thing that I guess I shouldn't really admire, but I kind of do admire, was like their little bar setups in their offices. As someone who probably would never drink at a job, I find the aesthetic of the setup so fancy. So I was just like, that's so cute. And then I have a little bar cabinet too. And I just like how nice everything looks. Like I like seeing the crystal, and I like how the offices just looked nice, you know? They weren't super blah. They had character. So I thought that was really cool. I was talking to my husband last night about like, when did the switch from drinking on the job to not drinking on the job happen? And like, was it like overnight, like a switch, or was it just like slowly people just stopped bringing alcohol to the office to the point where like there was none at all? Rhea, that worries me, just getting into vintage fashion myself, and have been looking for groups. So there are good groups out there. but I feel like there's less men's group. Like there's lots of women's groups, so like even if you don't like one group, you can always join another group. But when it comes to men's groups that are active, there's not a whole lot. So I mean, and I don't know. I guess men don't take things super super seriously. Maybe that's why they're so, you know, like not so nice. But for me, I was just like, it's intense. It's intense, especially if you don't really know a whole lot about like tailoring and stuff like that. It's just like it's so much information being like thrown at you, and then like it's a lot, and then you throw in people's opinions on how they think someone should dress, and it's a lot for me. Um, I took a tailored bespoke class. It helps to know how to make patterns from body measurements. Oh, I have no doubt. I definitely feel like I want to get into pattern making eventually, but I feel like because my time is so limited with the kids that I do enjoy working from a pattern. But I have learned a lot from those men's groups, but I'm just saying like they're just not the most inviting places to be, especially if you're there to learn. And the vintage bar sets are so pretty. They really are. They really are. So yeah, I have an Art Deco one in my dining room that we restored, and I love it. And to think that that type of furniture would have been in someone's office is super cool too. We have the bar cabinet because we just don't have enough space to have like a full on bar. Rhea, also you're lovely. Your channel has been such a joy to watch. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all 100 viewers. So let's talk about the show a little. So I took a bunch of notes. They're all on my phone. They're so sporadic because I think at the first couple episodes there wasn't a whole lot going on, and to tell you the truth, I was bored. If it wasn't for so many people messaging me on Instagram like just wait it out, it's my favorite, and people I truly admire was like it's one of my favorite shows, I was like okay, I'll sit through it. So it's only just now starting to get a little bit better for me. Lori, my sister helped me learn how to sew and did my alterations. She passed and getting excited about sewing since she has been through. Uh, oh, getting excited about sewing has been tough. I'm so sorry to hear about that, Lori. I'm so sorry, but I feel like once you get past the hump and you start sewing again, it'll be really like nice to have that connection with her. Bethany, I like the show. I love the aesthetic, and it's interesting seeing lifestyles during the era portrayed. So much beauty, and also so much that I'm so glad we stepped away from. I agree. And like when it comes to like period pieces and stuff like shows like this, I know that they have to be extra dramatic in order to keep viewership and entertain us. So while I do get that a lot of this happened, I'm like, damn, was it this intense? Like, was it truly that intense? Because when I saw Peggy at the doctor, I was pissed. When she first went to the doctor and he was just like, don't abuse the birth control pills. And I'm just like, what? Like, why? Also, nobody asked you. You were paid to do one job, and that was to prescribe them. So that was pretty trashy. And then also, Joan, I don't know, am I supposed to like Joan? Because I don't know that I do like her. Good evening, Emma. She said it's gonna start getting good. I hope so. I at first I don't know if it's because I've always heard of the characters, even though I never heard of the show. So when people would talk about like Joan's wardrobe and stuff like that, I assumed that like in Marvelous Miss Maisel, you know how everybody likes Midge's wardrobe, and then some people like Midge. I don't really like her, but we're gonna get into that once the last season gets here. But like I'm like I don't really like Joan that much at all, and I didn't like her straight away. Oh, Allison, she was your fave. Maybe I will like her later, but right now, right now I don't like her, and I don't know why I don't like her. Betty. Oh, I love Betty's outfits. She has the ideal housewife outfits, and by that I mean like the shirtwaist dresses. I love shirtwaist dresses, and like I definitely need to make more of them for around the house. And her dresses are super cute. Even her dress up dresses. That white gown that she wore to the award ceremony, the 1960s white gown, that was adorable. Where it had like the beading on the bodice. Adored it. But I also just like her everyday looks too. They're so cute and very approachable. Joan has a hard shell, but she does have feelings. See, I think that might be it. Like, I don't know. Like, everyone thinks so poorly of her in the office because, to be perfectly honest, I don't even know. Like, they have secretaries, not for secretary work. Let's just put it there. Like, the secretaries are not there for doing the jobs that they were hired for. And I feel like Joan is like, she knows how people feel about her, and she just doesn't care. I don't know. I don't know. Because it's just not fair. Like, the guys are doing whatever they want, and obviously nobody thinks about them in any kind of way. But then Joan also seems to, like, want to have a husband, like I think Peggy had said. And while what she does should not affect whether or not she has a husband, I feel like the way that she kind of, like, wears her business on her sleeves seems so strange to me. Because I don't feel like at the time period that she would attract a decent husband, even though she would be deserving of one nonetheless. Just judging on the time period, I feel like she wouldn't get the husband that she deserves based off of the fact that, like, literally everybody knows her business on the streets. And for a time that doesn't have social media, I wish her business wasn't on the streets. It says, by the end of the episode 1, I was hooked. Really? By the end of episode 1, I was like, what the heck? This is so boring. But I can agree, it is getting better, but definitely not because of the first. Creepy Uncle. Hi, Creepy Uncle. Thanks for being here. Margaret said, just stumbled on this live chat. It's 9:30 a.m. here. Woo, it's early. So I should be doing other things, but I want you to know how much I enjoy your videos. Thank you so much. Is it 9:30 Monday morning? Happy Monday. Also, I feel like Joan wasn't giving Peggy the best advice. I think that's why I don't like her the most, because the way that she made it seem like the only way that she was going to be able to keep and maintain a job there was if she acted a certain kind of way, when Peggy, in my opinion, seemed like she didn't want any parts of that. But then Peggy, like, she proved us all wrong. She said, I'll do whatever it takes for this job, because her and Peter's relations was kind of out of left field. I guess it's the writing of it all, because I'm just like, Peggy seems so timid and shy, and for her to just, like, hop in the sack with someone that she didn't know for about a week, and then she seemed uncomfortable with the idea, but she was just like, hey, what the hell? It just didn't seem like something that someone that timid and shy would do. So that was kind of, like, shocking. And then she caught feelings. Naturally, she would catch feelings because it was her first time, and then he was married, and now he's just playing her, and I hate seeing women played like that. Like, I don't like it at all. Joan is old school. What do you mean by that, Jolene? Helen. I just started watching Mad Men, and I really do like the show. What makes me mad is the huge time jumps from season 1 to season 2. It's a major plot hole for me. Oh, I haven't gotten to season 2 yet. I was literally trying to get to that, like, to end the whole first season before this live started, but I just couldn't. I didn't realize the seasons were so long. So yeah, I think I'm on episode 11 right now. And Karen said Peggy will keep surprising you. She is doing nothing but surprising me. And like maybe it's because of just her attitude. Like I felt like if she was a little bit more confident, I'd be like, go girl, do what you gotta do. But like the way that she's like super shy and just honestly, I felt like she was gonna get ran over by Joan, which is probably why I started out not liking Joan to begin with. But then when she's just like just doing whatever, I was like, okay, girl. But I am super proud of her for like being creative and sharp and like coming up with ideas and not just falling prey to being a secretary. I've gotten to the point where she is currently working on that exercise belt. And I'm so proud of her for that. Peter is a wimp. I do not like Peter at all. That's another thing. Like I felt like Peter was the way he was, like a wimp, straight away. So I'm like, girl, this is the guy you just hop right out your drawers for on the first, like, because he just showed up to your house. Like, if he would have showed up to my house, I would have closed the door on him. There wouldn't have been no way. I think Peggy went on with it because she felt that that was the way you were supposed to be in the office. She was trying to be like Joan. See, I agree, but like she didn't hesitate not one bit. She straight up was just like, roommate girl, I'm in bed. And like I don't know if I was gonna be coming out my drawers for Peter. I would have sent him home to his fiance. Ooh, Helena. Okay, so I wrote about Don. I do not like him at all. I also hate that he acts like everything is normal and he's having all these affairs. Like, I think that it's so strange how he watched his boss. I think it's weird how he watched his boss have his first little heart attack doing what he was doing. Also, I'm being very PG because I don't want like this to affect my stream or my reach or whatever. But he was doing what he was doing with his boss or whatever. His boss has a heart attack, having an affair, only for Don to literally go have an affair that night. Like, I feel like if it were me, I'd be like, ooh, this is my sign that I need to like get my ish together and like stay home. But he was like you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go sleep with somebody else. That's what I'm gonna do. And I was just like, you don't learn, do you? I was like, Bethany said I would have been like, bye, Peter. Yeah, it would have been Peter. Maybe when I saw it, like, because I don't like Don, but I think when that scene happened, they didn't give us a reason not to like Don yet. So I was just like, if I'm gonna be cracking this door open, it better be for some Don. Otherwise, you need to go home. It says Among Us. I have no idea what you're talking about. I found you on YouTube Shorts last week. Oh, well, thank you so much, Among Us. We're talking about Mad Men because so many people told me I should watch it, and so I'm watching. And then you guys have to let me know what I have to watch after this because, like, when I say I don't know anything about like classic vintage shows besides like Marvelous Miss Maisel and maybe a few other, I think I watched Breakfast at Tiffany, but I haven't really watched so much beyond that. So yeah, you guys have to let me know what I need to watch next so we can discuss. And then Jolene says Don is everything that was hot in advertising in 1960s. Girl, I could see that. I think what like really irritates me with him is the fact that he literally opened up with that is it Rachel? I'm so bad with names. I try to write this down so I can keep up with the names, but Rachel, he opens up with Rachel when Betty don't even know where he came from, who he came from. She's his whole wife, and Rachel knows more about him than Betty does. So odd. Also, why did Betty marry him? The fact that she knows so little about her own husband, red flags. Hello from Brazil. I agree. There's nothing worse than a cheater. Oh, it was so bad. But then also, I'm just like, once I realized like this is what the show is going to be about, I started to feel bad for the women because I'm just like, why aren't y'all getting your rocks off? Y'all got all day long. Like Dawn has been out from the time the sun came up till well before after the sun has set. And you're just sitting here waiting? Girl, bye. When she started fantasizing about that air conditioning man, I was like, good for you, girl. Now it's time to act on those feelings. I would love for you to talk about the Handmaid's Tale costume and other fictional series. Jolene, Betty and Don got married for looks. I could totally see that. I can see that. She's gorgeous. He's gorgeous. But they don't really have any connection. She's in therapy, rightfully so, but like with the worst doctor ever. I'm like sitting here like, first of all, he's not helping you. You're literally just talking. So call your bestie up. Talk to her. Talk to a trash can. Like, he's literally not helping you. And then he's like running behind her back and telling her husband everything, which is sad. And then he describes her to be like childlike and stuff like that, but I'm like, she's not even in a marriage. She's not in a marriage. Like, I would lose my mind if I was married to someone who can't even make it home for dinner after I make dinner, and then the kids go to bed and you're just poking your head through to see them like sleeping. That's sad. The air conditioning. Girl, the way that everybody's being cheated on, I'm just like, she might as well. She might as well. I feel so bad for her. But also, I do love that all her appliances match. I noticed that. Like, she had the yellow wall oven and then the yellow matching washer and dryer, which has me thinking, is that a Sears? Because I love Sears appliances. Anything with Audrey Hepburn, Cary Grant, they were classic dressers. Yeah, but somehow Down doesn't seem stupid enough to marry for just looks. Maybe he picked her because he knew she'd put up with his antics. I don't know. She's so timid, but then like right when I was just like, I don't really like how timid she was, she did something that shocked me. She started shooting at them pigeons. And I was like, I like you now. And the reason I say that is because like I'm such a mama bear, and if you threatened to kill my kid's pet in front of their faces like that, you better believe I'd be. The only problem is she was missing them. You better believe I would have been out there sniping all of them pigeons. Play with me if you want to. Not when it comes to my kids. Oh yeah, Steve, I know they did that, but like just to see it portrayed, especially with him being so unhelpful to her, was like annoying. Like, fine, tell my husband all my business, but like he literally wasn't helping her. And then the next step wasn't to actually help her, but to like get her committed or something. I'm just like, this was a waste of time. Also, I'm concerned about like her condition. Is it just mental or is it physical? To me, it seems physical. Betty is a great character. I only think that she's great because she stood up for her kids, because I felt that rage in her. Like, I felt it. Busy Bunny. Hi, I can't stay long. Still at work. Just wanted to pop in and say I love your videos. Can you make videos of accessories like rings, earrings, and necklaces? Thank you, Busy Bunny. I can probably do like one video that has all of my accessories. I don't have a whole lot of accessories because I'm someone who likes to wear the same ones over and over and over again. So I have like my daily wears, and then I have my fancy occasion jewelry. And then I just like to keep wearing the ones that I like a lot. I'm kind of like a cartoon character. Like, I have my faves, and then I wear it. Like, my favorite hairstyle, my favorite jewelry, and then I just continue to wear it. Ooh, the old doctors still do. Stay away from them. Betty looks like Grace Kelly, mental and physical. She really does. I thought it was cool that she did the modeling gig with Coca-Cola. I thought that was really nice for her. And then it sucks that how like she was obviously used for that position, and then when they couldn't use her anymore, they kind of just dumped her. That made me sad. Like, I didn't like that at all because you could tell that it hurt her. But I feel like her husband Don is just so detached that he just was just like accepting of her quitting being a model and just wanting to stay home because she wasn't even that far. She wasn't away from her kids for very long. I feel like a husband that was connected to her and like really understood and knew her would have known that something was up, and it wasn't just that she would prefer to make him a nicer meal because he wasn't even coming home for dinner anyway. Tanel says no, she knows deep inside he's cheating on her. She just doesn't want to admit it to herself. I think these mental issues are coming out physically. See, I think he's been doing such a great job of hiding it that at least from where I'm at in the show, I don't think she knows it just yet. Like, she doesn't even know. There was a moment in the show where I think she was talking to his coworker or something and said that he was interesting or chatty or something. And I'm like, girl, now you know that's not your husband. I feel like she knows nothing about him, like, at all. He was out of his mind with alcohol. Do you feel bad for Betty? I don't feel bad for her. She married him and didn't know nothing about him. I think when she was telling, was it the doctor, where she was like, they were engaged 3 weeks after meeting or something like that, after he got her fur coat, like, I think, like someone else said, like, they got married because they both look good. I don't think she wanted anything better. She wanted a good looking husband, and that's what she got because she doesn't know anything about him, and she was okay with that. It can be a lot emotionally watching some of these episodes. Yeah, it is. The part that really got me was the fact that she was taking care of those kids all by herself. Like, the fact that he didn't even have the awareness to think when she kept bringing up the whole did you have a nanny situation, like, maybe that she needed help. Like, come on now. Like, no one should be left alone with their kids for so long with no help, especially because, like, taking care of your kids is not helping. It's literally being a parent. And he's just showing up. Like, they're not seeing him till in the morning. That's silly. So I feel bad for her on that part because you choose your spouse, but you don't know what kind of parent they're going to be. So in that case, I do feel bad for her. Back then, divorce was your undoing and cheating, not discussed. Yeah, it was. It definitely was. But it says Betty Draper wasn't exactly a loving mother. Well, I haven't gotten very far. But, okay, so I did make notes. I think the very second thing I put in my notes was complaining about her parenting while also being happy that she was, like, going after those birds. But that's neither here nor there. But I did put that when she got into that car accident, she was more concerned about her child living with an ugly scar than having died. Like, she literally was like, something worse than dying could have happened. And I'm sitting here wondering, like, okay, girl, how much worse could it have been? And I really thought she was going to say that, like, her son died and then the daughter lived. Like, I was expecting it to be that, but then I was kind of shocked that she was like, she was like more concerned that her daughter would have ended up being ugly and not finding a husband. But then when she starts opening up to the therapist about how her mom treated her, I kind of understood. Like, that's how she was raised. Like, her beauty was everything, and she doesn't know any other kind of way. And a lot of our parenting stems from, like, how we were raised. So if that's the type of mother she had, then that's kind of... Bye, Luz. Thank you for being here. Linda, is it on Netflix? It never showed up. Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime Video. So once they started to open up about her mom, then I understood why she was treating her daughter the way that she was. And, like, I definitely find that, like, having Instagram and, like, the ability to see other parenting styles and to have free information is very helpful in modern times. And with her not having those resources, her mom's raising her was her resource for parenting, so kind of sucked. The movie Miss Harris Goes to Paris is set in the 50s, but I'm sure you'd like it. Watched it last night. No Draper drama though. Look, okay, so don't tell me yet, but I do hope that Betty cheats. I truly do. I hope she cheats. I was pissed off at Dawn. I guess I feel more about the way that they treat their kids. Like, I feel more seriously about the way that they treat their kids than I am more concerned about how, like, they treat each other, because they're all, like, consenting adults to some degree. But I hated how he didn't show up with the cake. Like, I don't know what he was running from, his feelings, his emotions, whatever. But, like, not showing up for your child is ridiculous, considering he doesn't even show up on a daily basis. So this was a special occasion, and he just kind of like dumped that baggage once again on Betty to have. So like, not only does she have to raise the kids from the time they open their eyes to the time they go to bed, but now he just dumps the cake on her, which is for the time extremely embarrassing. It would have been embarrassing now, but you know, like the way that things were socially back then, that was extremely embarrassing. So I was just like, and the way that she was just okay with him bringing another responsibility to her, like by way of Polly, like you drop me with this bag of entertaining all these guests by myself, not having a cake, and now you come home with another responsibility. I would have been pissed. I'm getting too old for this shit. Says, you are so classy and sophisticated. Thank you. Liza, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you guys could make it. Don't forget to hit the like button to help this stream. Yeah, it was so bad. The birthday cake thing really got I think the birthday cake thing was the last thing I wrote before I went to bed last night. But I was like upset about that cuz it's your kid. And like, you don't show up on a daily basis. So one day a year you couldn't show up with the cake that she asked him to bring several times. So then they had to get this little frozen cake from the neighbor who seems suspicious AF. Like at first with the neighbor, what's the neighbor's name? I don't remember. Oh, is it Helen? Helen. At first they didn't like Helen because obviously she's new, which I don't agree with, but I was just like, you're not giving her a fair shake. But then after the whole grocery store incident, after she randomly had Betty babysit, and then I definitely didn't think Betty should have given the son the lock of her hair because that was creepy. But also, Betty seems like a pushover. It seems like if you ask her a lot about anything, like if you ask her enough times, she's gonna go with it. So he didn't even have to really try. And she just gave him the hair. But then for the mom to like act the way that she did, like, you should have stayed home and take care of your own child. Like, don't even. So I think Ellen earned that slap. And then I also think that she's super suspicious because of the whole husband thing. Like, it's weird how she tried to avoid the husband but then let him in afterwards. Like, you could have just kept pretending you weren't home. It was just a lot. So I'm super suspicious of her, even though I also think that Betty was in the wrong for like cutting her hair, because that's weird. I don't have kids, so I can only think that she is doing her best. She loves her kids. If only she was not alone in parenting. Exactly. Like, she would be a much better mom if she had a break. And I think the part that literally almost made me snap in like this whole situation was when he got his bonus, that little measly $2,500, which I'm sure was a lot back then. Well, I know it was a lot back then. When he got that bonus and then he went to go take his little random artsy fartsy mistress to Paris, I'm like, sir, your wife hasn't seen you in ages. What do you mean you want to take her to Paris? Like, right now? Right now? Like, you're going to call Betty and let her know? I'm so glad that the artsy fartsy didn't go with him, because that was trash. It's dark drama with great characters. Forget about happy endings. Never watched Mad Men, but you may have me watching it. Oh my gosh. So I don't mind all of the drama, because I'm just like, look, I'm sort of in Betty's shoes in terms of like being a housewife, but I don't have like a whole lot of friends and stuff like that. Mr. Serena does come home to take care of his kids, but in terms of like, I don't have the workplace drama. So these little drama shows, they fill that void. So yeah, watch it with me, and then we can recap the mess in the next live stream. Yeah, I feel like she could be a better mom if she had a break and she actually had a relationship with her husband. Like, it's really sad. It broke my heart when he invited his boss to dinner without telling her, and she was like already dressed for bed or whatever. And then he basically was like, "Why did I get you a freezer? Sir, do you know how freezers work? Like, what are you expecting? Like, after defrosting, then you have to cook still." Like, confusion. But I literally talked to Mr. Serena, and I was just like, dude, isn't the modern time great? Because if you would have called me with that, you would have been entertaining your boss with whatever snacks was in the pantry, and I would have been in bed, because that's crazy. Like, I was I was so shocked. Yeah, breaks are extremely important because it's a lot. It's a lot to be alert all the time. Like, I feel like as a mom, like, I'm always thinking about my kids' safety. I'm always thinking about their happiness. I'm thinking about them like 24/7. So if it'd be nice to be able to like take a break, whether they're with their dad or take a break with their dad and like have them with other family. And the fact that like she has none of that and she's just doing it 24/7 by herself, and he can just come and go as he pleases, it really sucks. My husband invites friends for dinner, but at least he came home at dinner time. Exactly. Like, I definitely wouldn't have that issue, but if you're calling when like I'm already ready for bed, like, what? Allison is Mr. Serena. He watched maybe like 30 minutes of the first episode, and then he was like snoring for like the rest of it. So I don't think he's caught on to much, but he definitely has been hearing me vent about how Dawn has been acting, because he literally cracked up when I was just like, yeah, if you pulled that mess, like, you wouldn't have to worry about your boss hitting on me in the kitchen, because he would have never seen me. I would have been in bed. A nanny helps. I had a nanny. Oh yeah, I definitely think nannies are, if you can afford a nanny, by all means get one. And I think she needs one, but I think Dawn looks down on the idea of having one. She brought it up, what, twice maybe? And he was just like, he seemed confused as to why she would need one or even want one. I don't think that he values his kids at all, because he's satisfied with just kissing their foreheads at night. Do you think Gwyneth Paltrow wins in court? I have no idea. I know nothing. The only thing that I know about Gwyneth right now is when she was on some sort of IV during an interview, and then talking about how she eats broth for dinner. And I was just like, I mentally tuned out because there are days where I like to eat light, but broth has never been a full course for me, so she seemed a little wild. Honestly, I think Don Draper is one of the top 10 best complex characters in television. Not the best character, the best person, terribly flawed, but great writing. Yeah, I'm confused by him, because the way that they wrote Don is not in a way that like automatically makes you hate him. You dislike him, but like also it seems like he's trying to shield Betty from his nonsense, but not really. Because I feel like if she were to figure out, he'd be like, girl, get over it. So, I don't know. I like how secretive he is about it. Like, when compared to his coworkers who are very open about their affairs and stuff like that, he's very much like, let me keep my business to myself. And that's kind of like how I expected Joan to be. I think that's why I don't like Joan, because I'm just like, this is a time period where people are going to dislike you for literally being with more than one person. The time period. I mean, we're still trying to fight through that now, but especially then. And the fact that like her business was all out in the streets, I'm like, girl, you got to play the game better than that. Especially if you want like a long-term something after this, because you ain't gonna be pretty forever. Wait until you see how Peggy grows up and begins to wear grown-up clothes. So I actually liked Peggy's clothes right now. So she had that blue gingham dress that she's wore twice already. And I love the details. I love all the buttons. I love the French cuff, or like, they're not French cuffs, but like the winged sleeves where they're buttoned on both sides. I love that this show has the characters re-wearing pieces. It makes it seem more realistic, and you get more looks of the outfits. Like, you get to see it more. So I really enjoy that. Oh my, am I late? Sorta, but I mean, we're still chatting a little bit, so I'm gonna end it in a minute. See, I always get carried away. I love the way she gives him dinner and sits there and smokes while he eats. I feel like there's just so much smoking, so much. I love that she sits and waits to give him dinner at all. I'm like, girl, when people think that, okay, so I love mid-century furniture, I love designs, I like clothing, but like socially, I don't like the time period at all. Like, there are some traditional things that I enjoy just because I enjoy them, not because they're vintage. Like, I enjoy baking, so when I do bake, I prefer to work from scratch than working from like a kit or a box, because that's what I grew up eating. Like, my grandmother makes everything from scratch, so I crave the way that her things taste. But when it comes to like the social aspects of it, I'll tell you now, like, when I'm done cooking dinner, I'm gonna eat dinner. And if like my husband isn't home at a decent hour, I won't be up to watch you eat the dinner you should have been home 4 hours ago. Unless he calls me ahead of time and is just like, hey, I'm gonna be late, and then we'll make accommodations. But if you're just running this house back and forth like I don't exist, then I'm gonna treat you like you don't exist too. So so when people are just like do I'd be the perfect like housewife or wife of the time period, I'm like, nah. Like, if you're talking about cooking and stuff, maybe I can pass. Decorating, yeah. Dressing, maybe. But like, in terms of like the whole social aspect of it all, yeah, I've probably been beat to death by now. Like, it wouldn't have worked out for me. Keep an open mind about Joan. I am trying. I want to like her because her outfits are amazing. That one boat neck style dress that she has with the attached sleeves, Gertie made a pattern for that. She called it the Joan dress, and Joan wears that in like several different colors. So I'm just like, girl, once you pick what you like, you're really wearing it. Tell us how you really feel about Don. He's trash. He's trash. And like, another thing is, it's like, it seems as though he would have been fine with Betty if Betty wasn't the mother of his children. Like, if he could run around with Betty doing the things that he was doing with his mistresses, he'd be okay with Betty to an extent, because like, he cheats on his mistresses with the other mistresses too. But like, these people are settling down and having kids and then living single lives with other people. So I'm just like, dude, if you knew you wasn't trying to be someone's father, then like, lots of people don't have kids. But I know that's taboo for the time, but still, I wish they had the mental maturity to be like, settling down isn't what I want, even if I do want marriage. I thought it would have been nice. Joan's storyline is a roller coaster ride. She has to put up with so much crap in the men's world. You just want her to win because, yeah, honestly, her storyline is tough for me because like, they let us see how not seriously she's being taken. I think I could have done without seeing them like talking about her and like laughing at her, because then she still shows up confidently as though those things aren't happening. And like, for me, I wouldn't have been able to stick it out. I would have had to find another job, or I don't know, get married to somebody who would make me not work, because that's a lot. My mother-in-law will jump up and start cooking the minute someone walks in. Whenever they want, love her. Whatever they want, love her to death. I think that's great for her. Also, I think there's people who are passionate about certain stuff like that. Like me, the way that I show my love is through like making people things, like creating stuff for people, because like I want you to see like, look, I put all this time and energy into that. But then people who enjoy cooking and stuff like that, I feel like they would show, just like your mother-in-law will like jump up and go make them a meal and stuff like that and make them feel like at home and comfortable. And I think it just depends on who the person is and how they show love. But for me, like, it's not realistic for you to bring your boss over and then here I am making him a suit, so I'm gonna be in bed. Dawn is morally untethered. More to come on this. I can see that. Like, they show us little flashbacks of his childhood, and then, like, I think there was even one scene where he was, like, reliving maybe even PTSD or reliving the war or something. And I'm like, if anybody needs to be in therapy, it's you. You need to be in therapy. But the doctor isn't doing anything to help, so nobody needs to be in therapy because he's awful. Spot on. If Betty was the mistress, he would be fine with Betty. Yeah, I think so. I think he doesn't like Betty, the homemaker, and what, like, the homemaker with children. I think if she was simply a housewife who could just be available to him sexually whenever, he would be better about it. But even the way that, like, Peter and his wife, is that his name? The little wimp boy that we were talking about. The way he tried to pimp out his wife so he could get that little that article, that was so sad and demoralizing for her, because I know that she expected more out of him. Like, I didn't expect anything out of him, but I could tell that she expected more out of him, and it, like, broke my heart that, like, she knew. Like, she hinted at what could have gotten him the article and what publication, and he was just like, well, then you should have done it. But then also I feel like for the time period, if she would have done it, then he would have been mad, like, unbelievably mad. So there was no winning for her, so I felt bad. But also, I love that she, like, pressured him to get the apartment. Like, I love that so much. I love that she was just like, I love that she made him uncomfortable. Am I bad for that? Yes, please hit the like button, guys. I feel so awful for enjoying the fact that, like, she went to her dad for the down payment for the apartment. But, like, what do you expect? She's expecting a certain amount, like a certain lifestyle, and you're cheating on her. So now you have to provide that lifestyle because you ain't gonna make her happy in all the ways. So I thought that was pretty funny. Peter is awful, and the thing is, to be that awful, he needs to be making more money, and he needs to be taller, and he needs to be more handsome. You can't be that awful being who you are, Peter. Like, no, not at all. And, like, we're talking about a time period where, like, or at least the way that they're portraying all these characters, like, everything's superficial. So it doesn't seem like anybody loves anybody in this show. So if the guys are going to be out here getting what they want, then I feel like you need to be a better provider. I'm just saying. Let's see. Do I have any more notes before we wrap this up? Oh, you know what was, like, also kind of, like, weird is how Peter got into a fight over his, like, non-wife. I'm like, should you be fighting over your secretary? Like, is that appropriate? And then also when he didn't like that Peggy was happy, because when he was like, he didn't like her like this, and I'm like what? Happy and confident? Like, you didn't like her happy and confident? And I'm like, Peggy, please move on to somebody else in that moment. Thunderman, now that's something I can't relate with as a father. I loved raising my kids. Yeah, they're so much fun, and, like, you don't really get the time back. So it's just like, the fact that he the thing is, he doesn't even know what he's missing. He's just not there. It's not like it doesn't even seem like he gets a taste of parenting. He's simply not there, so he doesn't know if it's fun or not because he just hasn't been a part of it, and it really sucks. It sucks for the kids. It sucks for Betty. I did like Rachel a little bit until she got involved with Dawn. I like that she knew what she wanted. I like that she's, like, running or trying to take over her dad's company. How do you keep such amazing posture being a seamstress? Ooh, well, I played the flute when I was in elementary school. Yeah, and so like you'd have to sit at the front of our chair and sit up straight, whatever. So I guess I've always been sitting. I've been sitting like this so long that it feels more comfortable than like leaning back does. So it's a habit now. I think it's more of a habit than anything. So I just sit up straight. What were you talking about? Oh, Rachel. Yeah. So I liked her at first, and then she got involved with Don, which I guess I should have known was going to happen. But she held out for a little while, and by a little while, not very long at all. I like that she kind of called him out when he was like calling her to a meeting to talk about like Jewish people and like the travel to Israel and like the ad campaign for that or whatever. I liked how she straight up was just like, dude, I'm not an expert on this. Like basically she's just like, I'm a singular person. Also, you don't like all of us, you just like me, which is what disappointed me when she got into the sack with him. Because I'm like, girl, you called him out and you were right. But then somehow you were able to get past that. Like you were able to just be like, it's no big deal. There will be cats. I played the flute and the piccolos. Yes. I mean, I didn't play for very long, but I played through middle school. I played through middle school and I didn't. I'm not very competitive. So with the whole like fighting for chairs and seats and stuff, I was like, nah. Well, that's not true. I played sports competitively, but when it came to playing the flute, I was very competitive. So I was happy with sitting last year because I was just like, I don't want to fight over a seat. Peter doesn't want to be there. It looks like to me he just wants his family to look ideal for his job. I don't think he knows what a father role is in a family. Yeah. I don't like how Peter is super entitled while also not liking that the dad, seemingly doesn't want to help him out. I think that you don't own your parents' money before they're dead. Like the idea of laying claim to your parents' money while they're still alive, kind of cringy to me. So when he tells his wife like, that's my money, that's why I was comfortable with asking my dad for help because that's my money, I'm just like, but it's not though. It's not yours until it's yours. So that was wild. And I love that she basically said the same about her parents. The only difference is it seems like her parents is actually going to leave her money because her dad seems to love her. Don has a weird, crazy effect on women. He does. He's smooth and charming, and I don't know if he's so charming for me to be like, hey, you don't want to talk to the mass of black people, but like, I like you. Like, I don't know, he ain't that smooth, but somehow with all that she has in this world, she was just like, I'll deal. This is fine. I can overlook this. Peter really is a masterclass in the way that toxic masculinity hurts everyone. Yeah, he just seems so out of place to me. It's like he's creative enough to do his job to some extent. He seems kind of like shy and timid while also trying to pretend to be super macho and masculine. Like his actions are macho and masculine, but his behavior seems very much shy and like weird. I'm getting weird feelings about him, and I don't know if he's gonna like grow into being like the next Don or anything like that. But right now I feel like he's just going through the motions of what all the men around him are doing, whether he actually wants to do it or not. Like, to me it seems as though he might not have wanted to cheat on his wife, but he did it anyway because that's what all the other boys were doing. So that's also why I don't really like him. Like, I feel like when he slept with Peggy, he did it because he felt like it was something that he should have done or had to do. It didn't seem as though it was like something he truly wanted to do in the moment. He just was just like, yep, I'm gonna do it. I think I'm on 11. I'm almost sure I'm on 11. I literally just finished the part where Betty was like fantasizing about the air conditioning man. But yeah, we are over an hour, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up so that way I can finish up this season. I want to thank you all so much for being here. Don't forget to like this stream. I truly appreciate you guys just gossiping and chilling out with me. And then once we finish this up, I'm gonna try and like watch a good lump of video, because I don't feel like there's a lot going on in individual episodes to like break them off per episode, but I think I'm gonna try and watch them in like clumps so we can talk about this. So yeah, I'm gonna try and do this more frequently because I do want to get more comfortable doing lives and things like that, and like chatting with you guys and getting to know you guys a little bit more. So one more question. So is there an outfit you're going to make from Marvelous Miss Maisel? Is that what we're talking about? Probably not. I get lost in the sauce. Once I start watching these things, you see how I feel. I get feelings and all this stuff, and then I'm just like, yeah, everything's aesthetically pretty, but then I get lost in the story. So I think I would definitely have to go back and watch stuff to get inspired to make something. But in general, I don't really like recreating other people's work. I love taking inspiration, but like partially through a project, I always get bored when I'm doing like a complete recreation. So I can't imagine that I would do that. But if it's something that really stands out to me, I bet I probably would, maybe in a different color or something. But yes, Mad Men. No, I don't think I'm going to recreate anything, but I did get some linen here from Retro Mama Fabrics. She sent me some linen, so I was inspired to make like an office dress. And it won't be something that Joan wore, but it's something that I feel like Joan might have worn. So I will definitely be doing more like inspired looks, but I probably won't be recreating anything. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to check out my last video, the Betty Draper dress, inspired dress that I made using Gertie's patterns. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.